Everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and today I have an awesome, very special guest, Shane Fozard. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you for ages. How have you been?
Yeah, Happy New Year. I've been really well. Yeah, been having a great time up here in sunny Gold Coast most of the time. Most of the time sunny.
Most of the time sunny.
Yeah.
I'd like to formally introduce you. So just in case, I would say that most people that we're talking to have heard of you, but just in case, I've got this formal introduction that I'd like to do. So basically, Shane Fozard, co-founder and CEO of Australian Success Academy and founder of the e-hypnotherapist certification and marketing program, started off as a burnt out executive looking for answers. So if you've seen those e-hypnotherapist ads, Shane here is the one responsible for them, or co-responsible with his amazing, talented wife, Jess Fozard. After learning hypnotherapy to help himself out, despite being very skeptical, he became inspired to leave behind his career to forge a new one as a hypnotherapist, helping real people to get real results. This quickly snowballed into teaching others how to use hypnotherapy, eventually becoming a hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming trainer. After a decade of training and 10,000 or tens of thousands of practitioners, healers, coaches, and therapists, his mission now is to usher in the new digital healing movement, whereby heart-driven and talented people can learn transformational skills that are highly effective through digital mediums, as well as running a smart and successful business so they can help even more clients move from a place of suffering to a place of healing. What I love about that is that the themes that I'm hearing is you're helping other people, you've got this belief in education, you've been through, I suppose, like when you said skeptical, the same, I guess, decision-making process that led you to that adulthood. Like that adulthood, like where you basically have to say, I'm a person who has to be the one to make this happen. But also this big belief in how the internet's not going away. The internet is our path forward. Like last year, if we could have predicted COVID, if we could have predicted lockdowns, and even what may be coming into the future, if you're not using the internet, you're just not really in business. You're just not really promoting yourself. And that's why, like, what you teach is that you're helping people to basically to help others with skills that are transformational skills, but you're helping them to basically to get online to maybe escape the geography limitations, as in, like, if you live in a street where not that many people can get to your house, that's fine because you live in the internet now. Like, we have the technology. Yeah. What kind of like led you into doing this? Like, what are you noticing today that that you would say that, you know, like people could really relate to? As in, like, say, if they wanted to help others, or like, where did your story start? If I just leave it open.
Yeah, well, I appreciate, you know, it's such a deep sort of question because it's so important that people try to avoid making some of the mistakes that I used to make, and I've seen so many people continue to make. And that is that I think I've been involved in this industry for just over a decade now, and I came from the corporate world, and as you sort of told, I was really skeptical about anything to do with hypnotherapy or any of those sorts of, I guess, alternative therapies. I was completely against them. And I just came to a point in my life where I was in so much pain, sort of emotional pain. I was single. I'd come out of some relationships that had failed. I was drinking heavily. I was smoking heavily. And just life wasn't going the way I expected in my early 30s. You always have this plan. We always have this map of what our life should be like. And got to this point, I'm like, hang on, my life conditions doesn't equal my map. And that caused, you know, pain, emotional pain. So I stumbled into a hypnotherapy course, and that really opened up my eyes. I went to that hypnotherapy course not expecting much. And came out of it. It was like an intro event. Came out of it having quit smoking and quit drinking. And that really just showed me what was possible. It showed me that, wow, the mind can be really powerful. And so I started that journey, but I didn't know what I now know today. And I made the same mistakes I see so many people make. And that was that I want to be this heart-driven and talented healer or practitioner. I never really associated with the word healer back then. It was just being a practitioner, a hypnotherapist. And I left behind the corporate world, and I wanted to go out and help people. And the common mistake that I made was that I just expected that surely people would know the power of hypnotherapy and they'd want my services. I kind of came out from training, from learning the skill of hypnotherapy and focusing on that and going, I need to get really good at this skill, because if I can get really good at this skill, well, then that opens up so many doors. And I really focused on that, read a whole heap of books, did a whole heap of courses, and then got to the end, I was like, wow, let's do it. Started my business, and there was crickets and tumbleweeds, like no clients. And I realized this massive gap and it's almost like a psychological expectation that we have, that we think that next skill that I learn, that next tool, that next technique, that's going to open up the doorway to more clients. Surely, I mean, if I just learn this next system, then that will work. And I kind of did that. I was like, oh, this person's teaching, this style of hypnotherapy. It might be Ericksonian. Oh, that's what I need to learn. I'll go and learn that. How come I'm not getting any more clients? Maybe I need to go and learn this style. And it was like Elman hypnotherapy. Okay, I'll go and learn that. And all these different styles and these new fandangled. Maybe I need to go learn quantum, introspective, spin around on your head hypnotherapy. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to go learn. And all these cool names that you think, oh, that's the next thing that's going to get me more clients. And it didn't. It just meant I was a struggling. It just meant I was a struggling hypnotherapist. And it wasn't until I really did some work on myself and go, hang on, what's the lifeblood of almost every business? And that's marketing. So you can be the most talented, gifted healer, practitioner, hypnotherapist, whatever the title is that you hold for yourself, whatever your identity is, you can be the most gifted person. But if you don't know how to package up what you do and how to get that message out there in a way that your audience resonates with it, then you don't end up impacting as many people as what you could. And so that was the first sort of realization I made, and then stopped training so much in hypnotherapy. I thought, you know what, I'm pretty good with that. And I was getting some clients, but I wasn't booked out. And then really started focusing on marketing and digital marketing specifically.
Yep.
And how to get really good at that. And then once I started getting a lot more leads and a lot more inquiries, I'm like, this is great. But then I had that internal blockage around sales. Sales is that other thing. So many of us are like, oh, I don't want to sell. And a part of that was thinking that, surely I shouldn't have to sell this. I shouldn't have to sell this to you. Like, you should instantly connect with the value that my service has for you. And if you don't instantly connect with that, well, then you're not a good fit. But what I wasn't acknowledging was sometimes people need to receive information in a different way that is going to help them overcome their own self-sabotage patterns. We all have self-sabotage patterns. And so sometimes people really want to do something, but their old habits of sabotaging themselves, doubting the decision, using old excuses. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I can't do this. I don't make good decisions. Like, all those things that kind of stop us from taking action from a place of inspiration. When truly deep down, we know it's a good fit for us. Is something that I think that someone that knows how to communicate their package to someone can help that potential client navigate around. And I had to kind of change how I saw sales. In NLP, we talk about it being reframing. Reframe sales. That sales isn't selling. Selling is actually healing. If you're able to sell well, sell ethically, sell in a congruent way, then it should be a really good experience. It should be a positive experience for the person, for the recipient, and it should be a really good experience for the salesperson. I love to be sold to well. If you've got something that I can benefit from, I want you to sell it to me. I want you to sell it to me effectively, not pushy, those tactics that kind of feel weird, but just authentically and giving me the information that I need so I make an informed choice. And so,
like, I had a person call me recently, and they're trying to sell some education, and I've gone, who are you? How did you get my number? So instantly I'm sort of wondering, like, because I had no relationship with them at all, and they hadn't given me any marketing materials or anything. When I said that, like, I wasn't interested, like, the guy said to me, why aren't you interested in education? And then he hung up after that. which is really strange. And I think that maybe like how I see you and like how I see the world is if we could almost like see the world as like a board game that not everyone knows that we're playing it. And there are rules, absolutely. Like it's like that whether you've got a job and your superannuation, like it's on the playing field, like whether you're aware of it or not, it's actually moving in some direction. It's actually like driving some of this engine. And so one of the best chances you have of doing the best possible or having the best possible life is to actually to learn about the board game that we're in. Because it's almost whether we might be spiritual and say that we're born consensually, or we might be like a nihilist with physics or something and say we're born non-consensually, we just exist, however we got here. But we're in a game that we have to play, and there's real joy and real pain and real consequences. But a lot of people seem to say things, not this exact phrase, but it comes across like, I will start watering that plant once it grows.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Said like that, it's kind of ridiculous, but like, and we'd say that like most of the people that have seen you before, like they're on board, they love you, they know what you're about. But to me, like as you were saying that you did some healing on yourself, and then there's like, understanding leads and sales and the job, but there was this like working on yourself that seemed to happen. Like I see you as somebody who, you're an action taker, and you run with it. And that seemed to create your success, as in like you take the rules and then you use them. And then there is like, a couple of people out there that they're not even up to the point yet, like where they've actually failed. They've got the rules, they've got some steps, or maybe there's more education that they need, or they've got a passion they're aware of that they need to move forward with, but they haven't even perhaps like taken the first step. What causes that? And what made you into someone who I suppose like believes in yourself and like runs with it?
Well, I think first of all, it comes down to probably a few factors. One being self-awareness. You need to have self-awareness to kind of look within and go, what's really going on for me here? Like what are my excuses? What are kind of like fabricated excuses? They seem real to me because they feel real. Like I don't have enough time, as an example. I don't have enough time. It feels like it. No, that's real. I don't have enough time. But we all have the same amount of time, and it's just about how we use that time, of course. And so it's actually an imagined blockage. And sometimes imagined blockages are harder than real blockages, because if the real blockage, show me where that blockage is, and let's just move it out of the way. But when it's an imagined blockage, yeah, exactly. Like show me your calendar. Show me where do you apply, every 30-minute block of your day. If you show me that, I'm sure you can find where you can create some time.
Yeah. It's how much extra time do you need? Like, would an extra half an hour fix it? Or have they not even thought perhaps yet about, I don't even know if an extra half hour would fix it or not, because I haven't quantified it. Yeah.
And I think it's that self-awareness and also courage to kind of call yourself out on your own bullshit, if I can swear a little bit. It's to kind of go, when you tell yourself that I'm too busy, there's a certain amount of courage and self-awareness to go, actually, is that true? Am I really too busy, or am I using that as an excuse for reducing my cognitive dissonance for why I don't actually have to take action? Like I would love to write that book. I would love to do that thing, and I will, but I'm just too busy right now. And so it kind of gives us permission to stay the same. And that for me was what I had to get really humble with myself, first of all, to go, Shane, you don't have the answers. You're age 32 and life's not going the way you expected. And you haven't asked anyone for answers. So maybe it's time you ask people for answers. Maybe it's time you humble up, stop thinking you're some, guy that knows all the answers to every question, and go looking for better answers. And so with going and doing courses, maybe more humble, I had to be more humble to go on that exploration, but then also calling myself out my own bullshit and going, you know what, you've got to stop making these excuses. Like there is no such thing as I don't have enough time. Like if you really want to do this, Shane, you would just do it. Just get it done. Just do 2 minutes on that task today. Stop putting it off. Okay, you want to write the book, and you want to build that business, and you want to do that thing. You want to make that video, or just do 2 minutes of that. Like just do a 2-minute video, do 2 minutes writing the book, do 2 minutes of cleaning your room, whatever it is, whatever that task is where you've been putting off. And it just comes back down to that self-awareness, the courage to challenge yourself on your own excuses. And then probably the third part is immediate action. It's just immediate action, because anything we do starts to kind of train our brain to do that again. So if you put things off today, you are training yourself to put it off again tomorrow. Whereas if you train yourself to do just 2 minutes today, just do 2 minutes of that task that's been putting off for the last week, what's more likely going to happen tomorrow? You're more likely going to do another 2 minutes tomorrow. So you're starting to train your brain to do better behaviors, or behaviors that are going to be more functional to you getting your outcome. And it's been 10 years of a compound effect of doing like those 2 minute tasks at the start, and then maybe, blow it out to 10-minute tasks, and then maybe half an hour task, and then an hour task. And now, I feel like I can produce quite quickly when I'm focused. Now I still have excuses. You don't ever run out of problems. You don't ever run out of excuses. You can't run away from that naysayer that sits on your shoulder sometimes, that whispers in your ear that says, "Oh, I don't think you should do it now, and I think you should chill out instead, and you've deserved it, and maybe you're too busy today." Or we can listen to that coach on our shoulder that says, "No, just get it done today. Just do it."
What I think I hear with you as well is not just what you say, but what you don't say. Like your business name, Australian Success Academy, it's not called Australian Excuse Academy. Or like if you've seen, those old Superman movies, like where there's like Superman and Jor-El, like in the what was it called? The Fortress of Solitude. There's the crystals all around. Like Superman doesn't say like, "You've got to help me out. I've got to, save Lois. She's going to die. Like Lex Luthor's going to kill her." And then, Jor-El basically saying, "I've given you all of the superpowers that you need. Go forth and save her." It's like, yeah. And you know what? My job at the Daily Planet's been pretty bad as well. Also, I'm really scared about a lot of things. I don't think people really like me. And you wouldn't really like the character of Superman if he was basically like, I suppose, such a whinger. Mm-hmm. Not to say that people aren't allowed to vent, but there's a particular, like what I noticed with you is like, besides like, I've seen you on stage in front of like massive audiences. I've seen you like make so many sales, change lives. I've seen you, talk about millions and so many achievements that you've had. And a lot of it seems to be based on not just what you do, and not what you say, but what you don't say. Let's say like if there's a jigsaw puzzle, and let's say like we're at the point like where we've done the border, people don't go like, "Oh, the jigsaw puzzle's not complete yet," and then like beat themselves up, then get the next piece and put that in and go, "Oh no, the jigsaw puzzle's not complete yet," and like just layering and layering and layering all that negativity of like, "Oh no, the jigsaw puzzle's not complete yet." Well, stop saying that. It will be. Just keep. It's instead the way that you would do a jigsaw puzzle. You go, "Okay, I'm looking for blue. Where's blue?"
Yeah, one piece at a time.
Yeah, and you ask your brain the question, because the question you ask your brain is what it will answer. And like what I've noticed about you, like there seems to be this almost cleanness, not just in like your appearance, but in how you speak, that you're very particular on your words. You have a goal and you talk, like you ask yourself questions that relate to the next step of that goal. It could be like, what course do I need to buy? What do I need to learn? How do I deliver this product? How do I build it? But a lot of it is kind of like next step or big picture questions. And I hardly ever, if ever, hear you ask, "What if it doesn't work?"
Yeah. Like I think it is about understanding the power of language. And that was really what was shown to me. It was like shining a spotlight on my life when I started learning hypnotherapy, about just how powerful language is. I mean, what does a hypnotherapist typically do with a client? They speak to them. They use language in a certain way, and that influences that client to feel differently and to solve their own problem in some way.
Yeah.
And that just showed me the power of language, and we all kind of somewhat intuitively know that, but to know it truly to the point where you, again, self-awareness, start to retrain your own language that you use to describe yourself. That silent language that we use, the inner talk or the self-talk. And that is a form of self-hypnosis. I describe it as everyone's already self-hypnotized. It's just about whether you're doing it effectively or dysfunctionally, and how to stop being clumsy at it and to do it in a masterful way. And when I say masterful, it doesn't mean you're perfect, but it's just about instead of, asking yourself, giving yourself 10 excuses a day, what if you could, and, telling yourself 3 good things, what if you could flip it and go, okay, now I'm only going to hear 3 excuses a day, but I'm going to tell myself 10 good things. Well, that changes how you wake up. I mean, what's the first thing that people say to themselves when they wake up? What do they do in the first half an hour? And so it was really going, how do I learn to master my mindset? Because if I can master my mindset, at least get better at it, then everything else is a flow-on effect from that. That's everything else cascades on from my mindset. How I wake up in the morning, what I do with my first hour, what I do with the next 3 hours, what I do every single day. And so I really just broke it down and read some really cool books throughout the years. And I still learn to this day. Like I got rid of that arrogance to think I don't need to learn anymore. I mean, I just read, if anyone wants, I read this really cool book called The Practice by Seth Godin. It just came out a few months ago. And it's just about doing a 2-minute behavior that you need to do. What the practice? It's
he was the one who wrote The Purple Cow, wasn't he?
Yep. Yeah. Purple Cow. It's
brilliant.
like it's just like find out what your practice is and do your practice. Like athletes, they just do the practice. They show up to swim. If you want to be, top swimmers, they still get into the pool. They still do laps. They still just focus on the practice. And that's the key to it, is you focus on the practice. And for me, it was, first of all, practicing hypnotherapy. I'm like, you know what? I've practiced that enough. At some point, you kind of go, you're really good at your skill, but what's the next step? Well, if you want to impact people, how do you impact people? Well, people need to hear about you. So then there was the practice of marketing. How do you practice your delivery of how do you tell people in an effective way? And so there was just different forms of practice, digital marketing systems. And that's really how my business blew up. I mean, when I say blew up in a good way, I was a booked out hypnotherapist, and then I didn't like that role anymore, because that just meant I had a self-employed job, and then moved on to training people. And now
like this board game that we're playing.
Sorry?
Like this board game that we're playing, that we need to know like how to move up. Like if it's snakes and ladders, how to move up the ladders and avoid the snakes. Like in this world, there are people that are doing bad things in this world, and there's like leaders that are getting it wrong, and there's things that can make us very angry. And there's like, we were talking about, like the disappearing middle class and all these injustices and things, and how it's like the best thing that you can do is be the best version of yourself. Like instead of just letting it happen, and instead of like basically just falling victim to it, also instead of just complaining about it, is there are actual steps that you can take, and it basically involves pick a positive mission and start working on that. And like when we were talking about like we've got this probably one of the most exciting giveaways that I've heard of, the scholarship that you're giving to people where they could become an e-hypnotherapist. But like the way that you described it is that you're not getting a hat with names. You're not like picking out a random name, because like the way that you like to see this is that you want the right person to end up with it. So you're going to select them. And when you select them, that they have to fit a particular criteria. They do need to jump through the correct hoops, literally to impress you, to show that they are going to get the most value from this. And I love that idea. It's like that this could be something that could be yours if you're willing to take the right steps. Like there's this mission, this world that you can help with. Here's an opportunity. Here's a path. Here's an opportunity right now to get this thing. Are you happy to talk us through it as to like, how can people get this scholarship from you?
Totally. Look, maybe before I even mention that, if I can just add to what you were saying, that like right now, I'm really passionate about working with people that have a big vision, that want to impact, larger numbers of people. And I kind of am at this place in my life where I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are suffering, and we need as a humanity, we need more leaders to step up who can help people move from a place of suffering to a place of thriving. I mean, I can't do that alone. I mean, you and I, Scott, we can't do that just together. We need an army of what I call digital healers. And
this
that
is
is people that are, it's a movement. It's, never before have we been put in a position where major areas of society have been shut down, and that has further impacted that suffering. And who knows whether we're going to go back to the old ways. And one of the things I'm not waiting for the old ways to go back. I'm not waiting for February 2020 to come back, what life was like before COVID. I'm not waiting for that. What I'm doing is going, okay, maybe this is the new normal. if this is the new normal, well, I'll adapt to that. And what I'm now looking for is for people that have a big vision, that want to be a part of that kind of that digital healer movement, that want to help hundreds, if not thousands of people through their skill. And so that's how I created the e-hypnotherapy certification and marketing program, which we're giving away a scholarship for. And so it is a full program that is basically 5 steps. So number 1, we teach people e-hypnotherapy. So traditional hypnotherapy plus e-hypnotherapy, which is all digital. Now, you don't have to use hypnotherapy. Like we've got kinesiologists, we've got chiropractors, we've got a whole bunch of different people that have learned hypnotherapy, but they're just using their current skill. What they really wanted to learn was the marketing side of it. And so then step 2 is how to create a passion-driven, irresistible offer. Because you can have a really good skill, but if you don't have a irresistible offer and you have a mediocre offer, or you have a common offer, like, I help people quit smoking too. You and thousands of other people. You need to have some sort of aspect to it that's unique and irresistible. And we show people how to do that. And then the next step is the marketing system. So the expert positioning marketing system, which is kind of what we call evergreen. So it's 4 videos that you create. Evergreen meaning you create once and you use it probably for about 3 years or so. And it brings in qualified leads. And people want to work with you by the end of those 4 videos. Then the 4th step is showing people how to create a predictable sales system. So that's all the automation, the funnels, the emails. So again, your work kind of works for you. You have a smart business rather than you having to be limited with the amount of people you can help based on how many hours you have. And then the 5th step is the business side of it. Because in the past, I've shown some people how to create a 6-figure income quite quickly. And they made a 6-figure income in 6 months, and they called me up months later going, "Shane, I've got no money." I'm like, how do you not have any money? They're like, "I've spent it." And so there's no good in having a 6-figure or multiple 6-figure income if you go out and spend all that money. You end up with 0. And so we show people the business intelligence side of it. I mean, again, going back to what you're saying, these are the rules of the game. One of the rules is have a skill that you can monetize. Another rule is have something that's quite irresistible to people. Another rule is learn how to market it. Another rule is learn how to sell it and sell it automatically. So you've got some digital income coming through as well. And then another rule is all the business side of it, because once you've got clients, you need to manage your business and make strategic decisions. And the reason why, coming back to what you're asking about the hoops that we make people jump through, if I'm going to give away a $14,500 scholarship to someone, I want to make sure they're going to use it. I want to make sure that, because I don't want that person to take that opportunity away from someone else that was going to really do big things with it. And I've seen it happen before, where someone's won first prize and they've done nothing with it. They did absolutely nothing with it. And
it's like we're calling this army to really be, leaders in this movement to help others in a world that is starving for leadership. And like, we're asking, if you're, the person who can show this to us, and we don't want it to sit there gathering dust. Like, how do you turn it from a $14,000 worth of free scholarship into pretty much 6 figures, into $100,000?
Yeah.
We can see, or you can see in advance before giving it to somebody, pretty much how they're going to treat it.
Yeah. And look, some of the hoops, so to speak, is we ask people to tell us, what sort of people are they passionate about working with? We ask them to watch 4 videos. 4 videos that really educates them on those 5 steps already that I've already spoken about, but to a deeper level, so that people truly do know what they're getting in for. I want to make sure that if people still want to enter this competition, that they know the ins and outs. I mean, if you go to a university to get some degree and you're going for a scholarship, you don't just go to that university not knowing anything about it, and they don't just give out scholarships to anyone. Oh, you entered, you sure give. They interview you. They want to make sure you're going to honor that scholarship, and you would rightly find out more about that university as well, and make sure it's actually a university you want to get a scholarship from. And so, that's kind of what the hoops that we're going to talk about jumping through are. Another one is to do a Facebook Live, because if someone's too scared to just do a 2-minute Facebook Live, then that's another hurdle that people have to overcome in order to market their business. One of the most compelling marketing assets that people have in their business is their own personal story. And if you can deliver your personal story through a video, it's It creates so much connection, so much trust. And we know that if people can't even get over their own anxieties to do a Facebook Live, then they're going to struggle to do their 4 videos throughout the program.
Like if you want, like if you want to get to the top of the pile, impress us. It's almost that simple. In talking to, like, there was someone I talked to yesterday and someone I talked to today. The person I talked to yesterday, they just completed one of these marketing courses that had something like about 20 hours worth of videos. And I congratulated her on watching them all. And she's like, why are you congratulating me for watching videos? And I've gone, well, that's simple. Most people don't, like, even in the videos, the person says, you know, less than 1% of people actually do the work. It's like that when a person buys a book, we know the stats that out of books that are sold, less than 10% of people read past the first chapter.
Yep.
And that is crazy to me. And so then a person I was talking to today, and he absolutely thanks me for the concept. He understands the concept, but like we were, you know, doing something with the selection process as well. And the language that I was hearing, I was saying to him, can you please at least pretend that you're in an interview right now, that if you want to be selected for this job, at least please pretend that you're in an interview. Impress me. Give me answers that are basically showing me your best side. Don't say, I failed over here, so now I want you to hire me. I'm like, is that going to put you to the front or the back of the list? And like, even if you've struggled in the past, it's kind of like some advice would be like, if you want to get to the top of this list, think about what you're presenting. Like if you're going to do this Facebook Live, or if you're going to, you know, make sure that as a minimum, watch these 4 videos. Think about how would you select a person out of a pile of so many to give them something that's worth $14,000? Are you going to give it to the person with the biggest sob story, or are you going to give it to a person who basically says, you know what, you can depend on me. I will complete everything that you tell me to do. Like the sob story, like say that the life story can be great because it can be something as in like that, this life story, I went through pain, I went through a realization, and it made me realize that it's really up to me to bring this to the world. That's a great story, use of your story, but not a sub story as in like, I'm still in there and I still believe all the negatives, if that sort of makes sense. Totally. Show us your best.
Yeah. And to me, it is almost a mini course. It's a mini course to get access to the bigger course, because if people can't watch 4 videos that roughly go for about, I would say a total of 20 minutes. So 20 minutes in total for all 4 videos. If people can't find 20 minutes to watch 4 videos and then do a 2-minute Facebook Live, and they can shake and they can fumble their words, it doesn't matter, just a Facebook Live, then that qualifies them. But some people can't even do that. So some people are like, you know what, give me this for free, but I'm not willing to invest 25 minutes of my own time to create an opportunity for my future. And that's why we that's why we don't, this is not just luck based. Because again, I want to go to the right person.
Would you agree with this statement that the person who's going to win it probably already knows who they are? Like that there's something about them that they know, because that person says like, I'm going to win this. I will cross that. I will jump through that hoop. I will jump over that hurdle.
Totally. Yeah.
I'd say you probably already know who you are.
Look, yeah, absolutely. Like when someone really wants the help and they're like, you know what, I'm already skilled and I just need help with my marketing, or you know what, I'm stuck in a job that I don't like and I'm looking for something else and I want to create an online business, and the idea of helping people is something that really kind of invigorates me, and I would love to learn how to do that. To me, it's passion. Passion is the thing that's harder to teach. But if someone comes with passion and they're willing to take action and they're okay with being clumsy whilst taking action, then they're a good fit. They're a good fit. It's the people that are waiting for perfection. You know what? No, I won't do my Facebook Live until it's perfect. Or, you know, I won't take action until I've got the perfect amount of time. And those people end up not doing anything. It's the people I see, and sometimes there's a dark horses. Like sometimes it's hard to even predict who it's going to be from my perspective. Yeah. Because the most qualified person sometimes doesn't do it. Yeah. They think, I'll get to it, because they're sometimes not humble enough to go, hang on, I need to call myself on my own bullshit right now. Do I truly have the business that I want? And do I truly have that life lifestyle freedom where I'm not locked down to work one-on-one with people. And again, that's something that my mission is not to work with people that only want to work with people one-on-one. My mission is to work with people that want to work with others one-to-many. How can you spend, say, 40 hours of your week, but help 400 people?
Yes.
That's the vision that I have to work with people. If someone wants to work 40 hours a week and only want to work with 40 people, this is not a good fit. I mean, yes, you'll learn how to do that, but I don't feel good about that. That's actually not a good fit for what I'm trying to achieve. What I'm trying to achieve is show someone how to spend 40 hours of their week and work with 400 people. Now, it doesn't have to be 40 hours. It could be 20 hours a week and still work with 400 people. That's kind of what I get excited by, and that's exactly what I teach people how to do.
I'm really excited about it. So there's a link under this video. Can you talk us through like what happens next? They click it, fill the details.
You click that link, you put in your details. On the next page, there's 2 questions you need to answer. Sort of people you want to work with, what sort of ideas have you got for your future business? And then you go through to the Facebook group, and there's 4 videos that will be delivered to you over the next few days. And the final, I guess, hurdle is you just need to be on the live call, the live draw, to see if your name gets pulled out. Again, if you're not on that live call and your name gets pulled out, and we give you about 5 minutes to claim it. If you're not there, somebody else will claim it. And then we find out who we get to work with over the next 3 months. It's a 12-week program to help me become a successful e-hypnotherapist with an online business that gives them abundance, freedom, and fulfillment by helping people and working 100%. Smart.
Yeah, and how to get selected, really, like I heard 2 stories from 2 people in Hollywood, and one of them was saying that like they had to, they were noticed like every time that they were in an interview process, they felt judged, and then they had to kind of like let go of the ego to get through the other side. But they felt that like that to get selected, it was almost like hand-to-hand combat, or like there was an enemy on the other side of the table. Another person that I heard talk about their experience in Hollywood, because they were talking about how as an actor, they had to get through the interview process, but later on they started producing their own movies, and they were on the other side of the table interviewing other people. And they've gone, am I actually bringing people to an interview so I can make fun of them and tell them no? It's like, that would be a waste of my time. Obviously, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm actually, every time someone comes to an interview, I actually want them to win. I want them to succeed, and I'm actually trying to help them out. Yeah. So if they would just like realize that we're actually trying to help you win this. Yeah. We want you to win this.
There's 11 winners. There's 11 winners, and so more than one person wins. And that's a great thing. Is those 11 winners become this nucleus of a community that are all inspired, and they go on a similar journey. And that's another aspect to it, is you want support, you want assistance, you want to do this with others. And that's, go look at habit science. It'll tell you that when you start a new habit, if you involve somebody else, you're more likely to stick to that new habit. But you're absolutely right. Like, people can see it as judgment, like, I'm going to get judged. Look, ultimately, what do our prospective clients do? People are judging us every single day. They're judging your business. They're judging your marketing. They're judging your posts. You can't get away from judgment. You judge yourself. You can cry into your milk over judgment, or you can just accept that it's like air, like it's around. You can also just embrace it and be better at it. Be better at producing something that is going to get you a better judgment than maybe a judgment that you may not be wanting.
And if you want to grow more than one time in your life, be open to growing more than one time in your life. Because like what seems to happen sometimes is that people have this story of like when they've gone from child to adult, or metaphorically from disempowered to just winning all the time. And then they fall over, and then they say, that was it. That was my one go that I was going to have at life. And it's really not. Like, if you're still breathing air, your story's not over. So even though we could say, like, we're asking you to step up, of like, you're asking me to step up? How dare you? That's insulting. It's like, no, we're not trying to insult you at all. Like, it's more so giving you permission to say that, like, you're allowed to have 1,000 different stories in your life. You're allowed to have more than one. This could be your next one. It could be that you maybe like you've got seniority and you're used to people treating you with that potential form of respect, which is great. But at the same time, also don't let that hold you back from moving up the next step of the ladder and the next step. Be open to something new. Be open to some mystery. Be open to kind of learning something that maybe we don't know everything yet. Maybe after 10 years in the industry, there's, the next book we're going to read, and the next, as you just, showed a book that you're reading. I'm reading like a different one, like, the guy who wrote Facebook. No, sorry, not Fight Club, sorry.
No, Fight Club, yeah.
Fight Club, yeah. Because he's just so good at language. And I find that like the more that I read his books, the better of a communicator I am. And I'd be like, but after 10 years in the industry, why do you have to like learn more things? I'm like, after 10 years, I'm just a beginner. After 20 years, just like the beginner's mindset, like it was a Zen idea. It's like that if you can become a beginner again, like people were thinking sometimes that the beginner's mindset was an insult, but it was actually a compliment. Apparently black belts, like in karate, when they go from like white, everything in between to the black actually means beginner.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're allowed to start learning.
Mm-hmm. I think it's
okay to,
yeah, it is
exciting.
I think it's being a lifetime learner. It's having that humble approach to just going, you don't know everything, and there's probably something you could learn that is going to help you optimize your life in some way. It's either going to make it easier or bigger or smarter or faster or something like that. And I think when you have that sort of that sense of curiosity and you go looking for something, it typically shows up. And then it's about being ready, being the right person at the right time with the right information. Because you can be at the right time with the right information, but you can be the wrong person. Like what I mean by that is you can kind of be blocked by your own, excuses or mindset. And so that's where you want to work on yourself harder than when you work on your business. So that when you do find opportunities, you're in the right space to capitalize on them.
100%. Shane, thank you so much. I'm excited about this.
Cheers.
Click the link, guys.
Yeah.
Is there any, yeah. Do you have like perhaps like a closing bit of advice, like something like there's click the link, we want you to do that. But is there something maybe broad for people, like no matter who you are, no matter why you're watching, is there a bit of advice as to do with right now in this time of history, what's the best thing that you can do?
To me, the best thing that I think you can do is not wait for things to go back to the way they were, and embrace this current climate as this sort of social climate as the new norm, and so that you can adapt as quickly as possible. And you think about what your big outcome is. What's the big outcome in your sort of your business and fulfillment, that sort of area? I mean, we can all go, well, having a happy family could be a big outcome, but like in terms of contribution, I think if you get really clear on what's your big outcome for contribution, and then create a plan, create a path. There should be a path that leads to that you then know, okay, are you on the right path? If you're not on the right path, as an example, you might want to help, say, 1,000 people. Well, if you're stuck doing a job where you're at a petrol station for 40 hours a week, it's probably not going to achieve your outcome. And so just making sure you're aligned with your outcome, with your big path. That'd be probably my best advice, because I've seen a lot of people waiting for the borders to open, waiting for this to change, waiting for that to change, as opposed to just be dynamic, create something online, because when the borders do open, guess what you can still do? You can still do the online, and you can do the face-to-face. You've got the best of both worlds.
Travel. Yeah.
Totally.
Like, I love that. It's so straightforward. If you have the humility and the decision to do it.
Yeah. Oh, look, some people are happy just, I know, having a white picket fence and happy family. That to me, that's going to happen anyway. I think you sort of level up to a point where I kind of believe that humanity, we've got an unspoken, I guess, goal now where I have to contribute, and I would expect others to contribute rather than take. Some people are taking. I think if more people give, then the world becomes a better place. And that's my mission, is to help many leaders become bigger givers that can give more, that is greater than the amount of hours they have, how to scale their impact. That's what I'm all about.
I've really loved your answers. I've really loved everything that you've given today. So thank you so much for doing this video with me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Scott.
No worries. Click the link, guys. And yeah, like we'll see you on the other side of the page when you click the link.
Yeah. Thanks.
No worries.